This is Addis Ababa, the political capital of Ethiopia. A city that sits high in the mountains of East Africa, surrounded by hills, eucalyptus forests, and a landscape that has shaped its character for more than a century. For generations, Addis Ababa has been known for its busy streets, traditional neighborhoods, markets, cafes, diplomatic institutions, and its unique mixture of old and new. But today, the city is changing. Roads are being rebuilt. Riverbanks are being transformed. New parks are appearing. Pedestrian walkways and cycling lanes are being constructed. Old neighborhoods are being redeveloped. And the skyline is becoming increasingly dominated by modern buildings. The changes are happening so quickly that, in some parts of the city, the Addis Ababa people knew only a few years ago was becoming difficult to recognize. But what is behind this transformation? And perhaps more importantly, what kind of city is Addis Ababa trying to become? To understand the transformation, we first have to understand the challenges facing Addis Ababa. The city has grown dramatically over the decades. Its population has expanded, economic activity has increased, and more people have moved to the capital in search of jobs, education, and opportunities. But infrastructure has struggled to keep pace. For years, many residents complained about traffic congestion, inadequate pedestrian infrastructure, poor drainage, and a shortage of quality public spaces. Some rivers flowing through the city became heavily polluted. In several areas, riverbanks became places for dumping waste. And for pedestrians, simply walking through parts of the city could be difficult. The rapid urbanization also created another challenge. How do you modernize a city without destroying the identity that makes it Addis Ababa? A 2017 UN Habitat Assessment described rapid urbanization as having significant implications for Addis Ababa's economic development, social services, housing, and urban environment. That challenge has become even more important as the city continues to expand. The answer from the authorities has increasingly been large-scale urban redevelopment. And one of the biggest elements of that strategy is something called corridor development. For decades, roads in Addis Ababa were primarily designed around one thing: moving vehicles. The new approach is different. The idea behind corridor development is to redesign entire stretches of the city so they work not only for cars, but also for pedestrians, cyclists, businesses, and public spaces. The official corridor program includes wider and improved roads, pedestrian pathways, bicycle lanes, green spaces, lighting, recreation areas, and improved intersections. It is an attempt to change the relationship between people and the city. Instead of simply asking, "How quickly can a car move through here?" the new question is, "How can people use this space?" And the scale is significant. By early 2026, the city administration said several major corridors had already been completed and opened to the public, including routes linking Eret Kilo and Shiramada, Sosget and Meganagna through Meskel Square, Sarbet through Lafto towards Fury, and CMC through Semet and Goro towards Bol VIP. Then came another phase. In June 2026, Mayor Adenek Abibi said a 13.4-kilometer corridor project was being developed across 5 routes. The changes are easy to see. Walkways are wider. Street furniture is being introduced. Landscaping has become a major feature. And bicycle lanes are appearing in places where cycling infrastructure was previously limited. For a city known for heavy traffic and crowded roads, these changes are significant. But corridor development is not just about appearance. The authorities argue that better infrastructure can also support economic activity. Better roads can improve access. Pedestrian areas can bring more people into commercial districts. And public spaces can create opportunities for small businesses. The official project says its aim includes improving mobility, accessibility, and quality of life while supporting economic growth. But there is a bigger story unfolding beyond the roads. The transformation is following the city's rivers. For many years, Addis Ababa's rivers were among the city's biggest environmental challenges. Some waterways became polluted with household and industrial waste. Riverbanks became dumping grounds. And during heavy rain, communities living close to the waterways faced flooding risks. But today, some of these same areas are being completely redesigned. The river is becoming the center of a new kind of urban space. Walking paths, cycling routes, green areas, restaurants, recreation spaces, public gathering areas. The city's Riverside development program, often associated with the Beautifying Shedger initiative, was launched as a major attempt to transform the waterways and surrounding areas. By February 2026, the city administration said 8 riverside projects covering about 48 kilometers were underway, spanning roughly 3,000 hectares. One of the major areas stretches from Entoto towards Peacock and another follows the Kabina River corridor. The ambition is to turn what were once neglected spaces into areas where people can walk, exercise, socialize and spend time. And the idea goes beyond simply making the city look beautiful. In June 2026, Ethiopia's Prime Minister described the Riverside program as a broader urban transformation involving green corridors, public gathering areas, walkable spaces, recreation, and commercial activity. There is also an environmental dimension. A recent report by Addis Media Network said the river projects are intended to address pollution, flooding and degraded riverbanks while introducing vegetation and public spaces. But perhaps the most interesting part is what happens when environmental restoration meets economic development. A clean river can attract visitors. A walking path can attract businesses. A park can create jobs. And a previously neglected area can become valuable urban land. This is the philosophy increasingly visible across Addis Ababa. Beautification, infrastructure, environment and economic activity are being planned together. The transformation is also trying to connect different parts of Addis Ababa. At the northern edge of the city are the Entoto Mountains. For generations, Entoto has been associated with history, religion, nature, and some of the earliest development of modern Addis Ababa. Today, it is being connected more closely to the urban center through new infrastructure and recreational development. The official Riverside plan describes a sequence beginning around Entoto's natural and cultural landscape, moving through historic parts of the city and eventually towards modern commercial districts. The concept is ambitious. A visitor could move from the mountains and forests, through historical sites, into the center of Addis, and eventually towards modern commercial districts. It is an attempt to make the city itself part of the tourism experience. Instead of treating parks, history, business districts, and recreational areas as separate destinations, the idea is to connect them. And that brings us to another major feature of the transformation: public spaces. The most visible changes in Addis Ababa is the growing emphasis on public spaces. Perhaps one of the strongest examples is Arata Park. In April 2026, the government unveiled the 40-hectare development in the heart of the capital. According to the government's description, the area had previously contained neglected and deteriorating housing. It has now been redesigned with large green areas, roads, pedestrian walkways, cycling and running tracks, shops, restaurants, sports facilities, and public gathering spaces. 15 hectares are dedicated to greenery. There are 6 kilometers of pedestrian walkways and 5-kilometer tracks for cycling and running. The project also includes commercial spaces. And this is important, because the authorities say businesses belonging to people affected by the redevelopment have been incorporated into the new development. Another major project is Addis Sports Park. Opened in April 2026, it covers 5.7 hectares and includes sports facilities, a running track, swimming facilities, gyms, children's playgrounds, commercial spaces, and a large public plaza. The idea is to create a city where recreation is not something reserved for a few neighborhoods. Instead, parks and public spaces become part of everyday urban life. Children can play. Young people can exercise. Families can spend time together. People can meet without having to spend money in a restaurant or shopping center. And that can change the social life of a city. But Addis Ababa's transformation is not only happening at ground level. Look up. The skyline is changing too. Modern office buildings, hotels, apartment towers, and commercial developments are reshaping the city. Bole has become one of the clearest examples. Once dominated by low-rise buildings, parts of the area now feature a dense collection of modern commercial and residential structures. At night, illuminated buildings and busy streets give the city an increasingly international appearance. But this transformation is not simply about making Addis Ababa look modern. The city is Ethiopia's economic center. It is home to the African Union and the headquarters of the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa. It is one of Africa's major diplomatic cities. And the government wants it to become a more competitive destination for investment, tourism, and business. City officials have described the corridor and Riverside programs as projects intended to improve Addis Ababa's competitiveness and attractiveness to residents and visitors. So the physical transformation is also part of a much bigger ambition: to reposition Addis Ababa as a major African metropolis. But there is one challenge that no city can escape: mobility. A beautiful city is not necessarily a convenient city. And Addis Ababa's growing population means more people traveling between homes, workplaces, schools, and businesses every day. The new corridors are therefore designed with different forms of mobility in mind: walking, cycling, cars, public transport. The official corridor program specifically includes pedestrian pathways and dedicated bicycle lanes. That may sound simple. But in a city where pedestrians have traditionally competed with cars for space, it represents a significant change in priorities. The question is whether these facilities will be connected into a genuinely functioning network. A bicycle lane that ends suddenly is not a transport system. A beautiful sidewalk that is blocked by parked cars is not pedestrian infrastructure. And a new road cannot solve congestion forever if the number of vehicles continues to grow. So Addis Ababa's next challenge may be maintaining and connecting what it is building. But there is another side to every urban transformation: people. When roads become wider and riversides become parks, existing homes and businesses can be affected. Some residents have to move. Some businesses have to relocate. And for families who have lived in an area for generations, redevelopment can be an emotional experience. The authorities say relocation and support for affected communities are part of the corridor program. The official project describes measures involving housing, resources, and support for relocated people. And some new developments deliberately include commercial spaces for relocated traders. For example, Addis Sports Park includes 105 shops designated for community members relocated during the development process, according to the government. Arada Park also includes commercial spaces for traders affected by redevelopment. But urban transformation is never simply a construction story. It is a social story. A new road may benefit thousands of people. A new park may create a beautiful public space. But the people who lived on that land before the project also need to feel that they have a place in the new city. That is one of the most important tests of Addis Ababa's transformation. There is also a question that will become increasingly important in the years ahead. Can Addis Ababa become a greener city while continuing to grow? The city sits at a high altitude and has historically benefited from its surrounding mountains and vegetation. But rapid urbanization has put pressure on its environment. The Riverside projects are attempting to address some of these problems. And in May 2026, Ethiopia and Italy signed a €5 million grant agreement for the Kabina Tributaries Riverside Development Project. The project is intended to restore polluted tributaries, improve drainage, protect riverbanks, and establish vegetation buffers. This shows how the transformation is moving beyond beautification. The city increasingly has to think about water, flooding, waste, trees, air quality, drainage, and climate resilience. Because a modern city is not simply one with tall buildings. It is one that can survive the environmental pressures created by its own growth. There is, however, one final question. What happens after the ribbon-cutting ceremonies? Building infrastructure is expensive. Maintaining it is even more important. Trees need water. Roads need repairs. Streetlights need electricity. Public toilets need maintenance. Rivers need continuous protection. And parks need security and cleaning. The success of Addis Ababa's transformation will therefore not be measured only by what is completed in 2026. It will be measured 5 years from now. 10 years from now. Will the rivers remain clean? Will the pedestrian paths remain usable? Will businesses survive? Will public spaces remain accessible? And will the infrastructure continue serving ordinary residents? The city administration has already identified maintenance and management of existing infrastructure as a continuing priority alongside new construction. Addis Ababa is not becoming a completely different city. Its history remains. Its markets remain. Its cafes remain. Its churches and mosques remain. Its traditional neighborhoods remain. Its people remain. But around them, a new layer is being built. A more connected city. A more pedestrian-friendly city. A greener city. A city with new public spaces. A city trying to make its rivers part of urban life rather than places people turn their backs on. And a city that wants to compete with other major African capitals. The transformation is already visible. But the final result is still being written. For more than a century, Addis Ababa has grown with Ethiopia. Today, the city is entering another chapter. The roads are changing. The rivers are changing. The skyline is changing. And perhaps most importantly, the way people imagine the city is changing. From a capital struggling to keep up with rapid urban growth, to a city attempting to redesign itself for the future. Whether Addis Ababa succeeds will depend on more than concrete, asphalt, and glass. It will depend on whether the transformation improves the everyday lives of the people who live here. Because a truly modern city is not defined by how impressive it looks from above. It is defined by how well it works for the people on the ground. This is Addis Ababa, a city in transformation, and a city still writing its future.